So here now, I have shown subject. I have shown that I play in the park every afternoon. Even if I didn't have ogni pomeriggio in this sentence and I just had il gioco al parco, you will still show time as this verb has been conjugated in the present tense. If I didn't have the subject pronoun and I just had gioco al parco, this will still show subject because this ending here, the O ending in gioco, is first person ending. So this shows that I am playing at the park. Gioco al parco. Each conjugation for any verb shows who is doing that action. So the next conjugation is for tu. So if I am talking to you and I want to say you are playing in the park, the ending will be I. We have to add an H with this verb giocare because otherwise it won't sound correct. It would sound like giochi instead of giochi. There are some exceptions with these verbs. So if a verb has a G or a C before the ARE, IRE or ERE, you just need to make sure that this, if this needs to change to an H, you have to add an H in there. Lui lei, the ending is gioca. Noi giochiamo. Again, we have to add an H, otherwise it would be giochiamo. Voi giocate. And loro giocano. So here we have our present tense regular endings for are verbs. Io gioco, tu giochi, lui gioca, lei gioca, noi giochiamo, voi giocate, loro giocano. These are your present tense verb conjugations for the verb giocare. So therefore you can see here that we've changed the verb for each subject of the sentence. So this sentence up here shows that I am playing in the park. Gioco al parco. If I want to say he or she is playing in the park, this ending will need to change to gioca al parco. So your infinitive verb, giocare, doesn't show subject or time. Then your conjugation, so the way you change the verb, shows the subject and the time. So your subject here is he or she, and your time is the present tense. Before we move on to regular and irregular verbs, I just want to explain what the stem or the root is of a verb. So when you drop the ending of the verbs, are, ere, or ire, you are left with the stem or the root of the verb. By adding the required ending, you conjugate the verb. So you can see up here, we have giocare, your ending is are. When you take off are from the verb, you're left with the stem. Okay, so you'll see here the continuation of the stem throughout the conjugation. And what changes is the ending. And the ending is what is then specific to the subject of the sentence. So the stem or the root of the verb is the part of the verb, the first part of the verb that's left over after you've taken away the ending, the ARE, ERE, or IRE. So this brings me to the next term, regular or irregular verbs. A regular verb, like giocare that we saw up here, giocare is a regular verb, and so is parlare. These verbs are regular because when you drop the ending of the verb, so we drop ARE of the ending, the stem or the root of the verb does not change from the infinitive form when the verb is conjugated. So it will stay as parl, 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 and parl throughout the verb. And you're adding the ending to conjugate the verb. Okay, sentire is a regular ire verb. You can see here the sent continues and the endings change to suit the subject. And the same with credere, which is a regular ere verb. Again, it's cred and the endings change to suit the subject. So what makes a verb irregular? We can see here in this example, okay, we take away the ending are and we get left with the stem or the root of the verb, parla. And when we conjugate a regular are verb, regular ire or ere verb, this stem will stay the same. However, in an irregular verb, the endings are still the same. It's not the endings that change. It's the stem that changes to make it irregular. Okay, so a regular verb, the stem will stay the same and it will continue throughout the 6 forms of the conjugation, and the endings change to suit the subject. However, with an irregular verb, the endings still change to suit the subject, but the stem also has to change. So I have 3 irregular conjugations for you. So we see here with this verb andare, we obviously have to take away the are ending and add o, I, a, iamo, ate, anno. But also the stem doesn't stay as and. It changes. It's vado, vai, va, andiamo, andate, and vanno. And you can see here with vanno there is a double N. There are only some verbs in Italian that have a double N for the third person plural ending. Here are 2 other examples of irregular verbs. This is an ire verb and an ere verb. Again, we will see here that the endings stay the same. O, I, e, iamo, ite, ono. Same as sentire, exact same endings. However, with sentire, we have the regular continuation of the stem, and except with venire, the stem changes. And that's what makes the verb irregular.